words are spells, that what you say is like we are listening. So coupled with science, neuroscience, we listen to ourselves more.
Witches wouldn't have even had candles hundreds of years ago.
No.
They wouldn't have even had, a candle back in.
Yes, actually, I do it quite often. Very just like this is the one true way. No, it's not.
Special guest, we share the flame. Through every word we claim our name.
Hey Sparklers, how we doing? So if you don't know me and you're new around here, I am Empress Sparkle. I am a paranormal investigator, healer, witch, clairvoyant, you name it, I play with it. It's the way I'm going to word it in the spiritual world. Round here, though, I am your guide to the light and to powering yourself forward and being aware of the darkness. So today I have a lovely guest with me. We've literally just been talking non-stop for 20 minutes, bless her. So I have Carla with me today. Carla, would you mind introducing yourself, please?
Hello, thank you for having me today. So I am Carla, Carla Jane, CJ, don't mind any and all that, which also works. But I am the practical magic coach. And I work with people to help them with their businesses, but also help them with their lives around uh, using witchcraft, using tarot, using their energetic cycles to help support them. So it's not as a like a very mystical, like this is what you should be doing. This is how to use things practically to help support you in everyday life. One of my big things is saying mundane over magic. So I'll always try and find a mundane solution instead of a magical one first. So that is me. I am very sarcastic, very I like to think I'm quite funny, and I'm also a an expat Brit. So obviously you can hear that I am British. So I'm currently living in Nashville, in Tennessee, and have been here for a year and loving every second. So yeah, just
I've got to
that's
be
me
nosy
in a
first,
nutshell.
actually. I do have to be nosy. How's the Americans dealing with the British sarcasm?
A lot of them don't get it. They are like I am dry. My husband is like the Sahara. Like he is really dry and they don't get it. Sometimes they're like, "Are you being serious?" And it's like, "No." But we are teaching them and just being like, "Look, if we're gonna rip on you, then we like you. If we're really polite, then we're either unsure or we don't like you."
Yeah, see, now sometimes they don't get that, do they?
No, they don't.
And I feel like it's a more southern thing than even a Northern England thing. Because when my daughter, bless her heart, we live up north at the minute in England, and
Yeah,
my daughter at college, the teachers were like, I don't think she likes me. And I'm like, why not? And they're like, she's constantly bantering with me, constantly saying no and then laughing and walking off and then doing it. They're like, I
yeah,
don't think she likes me. And I'm like, no, she likes you. That's sarcasm.
yeah.
They're like,
That's
what?
just
I'm like,
yeah,
and it's like, oh, I just sit there. She just went, yeah, she said some awful stuff. I will admit that to her teachers. And I've gone, she likes you because she's ripping out of you. She's polite to you, then run. She don't
yeah.
like you.
Well, I get that totally because I used to be a teacher of feral teenagers, and this was something that like it was a love language with them. Like you have to because it was in Boreham Wood in South Hertfordshire, and it was so like it was brilliant. I loved it. They were all crazy. I'm still friends with quite a lot of them as well.
Yeah, it honestly, I love it with her. Like people, especially up here, they walk into our house and they're like they think we're having an argument and we're just ripping into each other.
Yeah,
And they're like, someone said to us a couple of weeks ago, they were like, "You're gonna allow her to talk to you like that and be that disrespectful?" And I'm like, when's she been disrespectful?
yeah.
I'm
Where
like,
where was that?
I'm like, that's banter, mate. I was like,
Yeah.
she's been disrespectful, she would have been told by now. And
Yeah.
it's just like, it's crazy. I love that. I love that. I do admit that. Anyway, guys, I do apologize. I had to be nosy on that one because I've heard the rumors about Americans not coping with our sarcasm.
Yeah. And I sometimes I have to uh translate when I say certain things or certain phrases. The funniest one, but I will stop in a minute because I know that we do need to get onto other stuff. But the funniest one is when you say, well, I'm not trying to teach your grandmother to suck eggs. They don't know what that means at all. It's the funniest thing. They're like, pardon me, what did you say? You don't get it.
Can imagine that faces now. Only because when I moved up north, when we first went outside, this problem's actually in England as well, believe it or not, guys. We first went outside and it was absolutely freezing. And I went, oh, cool, it's freezing sharp. And everyone looked
Yeah,
at me and went, freezing sharp? I'm like, yeah, it's freezing sharp. Like, feels like you've got needles going through your skin.
yeah.
Don't you have that expression? And you sort of sit there and just suddenly go, oh, actually. One of the words that I use, I can't mention on here because I'll get in trouble because I called a ditch the old school word.
Right.
I'm a fenny. Yeah, so it's sort of like, yeah. This is a problem, guys. We all may speak English, but it's completely different.
But we don't. I get it.
I love it. I love this. Oh, so anyway, Shawnee, I'll just say you're right. I do love her, by the way. So one of the other things I noticed you said was about energy. Now, energy is
Mm,
one of my specialities because energy is everything.
mhm.
It's in our sofas, it's in our tables. Energy
Yeah,
is everything. And it's the one thing that I always say to people is proven by science. So how do you actually teach people this? I've got to be nosy at this, lovely, if you don't mind.
of course, of course. So I get people to track their energy levels more than anything because Fibro Queen here, there is like thanks genetics. There is a real thing because most of the people that I work with have either some kind of neurodivergence or they have some kind of chronic illness, and usually it's both. And we are so used to being in the neurotypical push, 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 and you don't get to rest. And so I generally help people to figure out like where their energy is, where it lies, how to play with it, and I do a lot through visualization, how to play with it, how to replenish it, and also to help retell some of the stories around how they are with themselves, because words are spells, that what you say is like we are listening. So coupled with science, neuroscience, we listen to ourselves more often than we listen to other people, even though we do also like to have that external validation. There is so much around it. So I help people to align with the moon's phases usually, but also if they are like super like low during the full moon and super high during the waning moon before a new moon, then like it's all made up anyway, so you do you. And I just help people to maneuver around that. So one of the things for those chronic illness baddies out there, that you will have heard the term spoon theory. And there is so spoon theory is essentially you wake up, and if you've had a good night's sleep, you've got a certain amount of spoons that you can use each day. So I take that and I turn it on its head, because I think of it more as energy coins. So you have a pile of energy coins, and yes, you might start out with a depleted amount if you've had a crappy night's sleep. And then you do something that adds to the energy coins, because I kind of imagine myself as a dragon, and the dragon that is hoarding the energy coins and like finding different ways to connect to it and to build on my fortune. And so there are certain activities that will deplete you, but then it will also replenish you at the same time. And then there are certain activities will deplete you. So you do what you can and balance around it. So it's less of a, because it's with spoon theory, it's finite. With energy coins, it's not. And that's what we've got to tell ourselves, because spoon theory, I lived that for a very long time. And I was like, oh, I don't have any spoons left. And I was like, but if I did this thing, if I had a bath, I'm going to replenish myself. Yes, it's going to take some away, but I'm going to replenish myself.
I love this. And the reason I love this is because this is something I teach my girls. So basically I've always home educated my girls. So I've got 2 SEND children. So I've got one with autism, one with possible ADHD. My one with autism is that severe. She has to have a 24/7 carer because she can't manage the real world. So I love this because one of the things that we do with them that people don't realize is if they're having a day where they've socialized too much and they've run out of their energy and I can feel they're draining, I literally will allow them computer time for about 4 days on the trot. Do whatever they want for 4 days on a trot. And people look at me and go, why are you allowing that? And I'm like, they need to replenish their energy. And I think as well, when you have neurodivergence or you are critically ill, we forget that actually it takes us longer than a normal person to revamp that back up. It takes us a lot longer. Because also, I don't know about you, but I find neurodivergence especially are more sensitive to the world, like the energy forces around them, but they don't understand it. I love that because that is one thing my autistic daughter is a true white light. And since she was about 3 years old, I know you guys have most probably heard this about 50,000 times.
I haven't.
No, you haven't. That's why I'm saying it again, lovely. She is the most amazing child out, honestly. She will tell me about mooses coming to her. She's like, Mum, I've had a moose come to me. I want to write this book. And I'm like, write it then, baby. Go on, write it. It's still the same book from about 3 years ago, but we don't mind that. When the moose comes, the moose comes.
Yeah.
She's a beautiful white lady. Beautiful. She's in a Greek goddess dress. And I'm like, sit there and I listen to her. And she actually comes to me at 7 years old. And she's the reason that I actually worship the Greek gods. And I always admit that to everyone. She came to me when I was 7 years old. She was 7 years old. And this is why I say to people, they are so freaking intelligent and with the energy. And she said to me, Mum, you do realize that there's actually only one God and he's changed the story for everyone to believe in it. She says, chaos is the true God. She said, some people may call it the universe in the future, Mummy. 7 years old.
Yeah.
I looked at her and I went, wow. And I think about it now and I think that is what people are calling it now. They're calling it just the universe. And I think, what a smart little girl. And I think autism helps them, but it also has that backfire. So I love the fact you're helping people like that because it does have this backfire where their energy just depletes so quick.
Yeah.
It's quite sad to see, really, in some ways, because they're magical. Everyone I've met, which is, I don't like using this term, a true autistic. I don't like using that term. I don't.
No, I get it.
They are magical. And I sit there and they are connected to something that most of us wish to be connected with.
Yeah.
So I love the fact you're helping them to understand all that. I love that. Oh, sorry, I've got chills then as well.
Love it.
So I do love that, lovely. So one of the things, because obviously energy is sort of I call it my speciality because everything is, as I said, everything's energy. Even when we do our tarot cards, that is
Mhm,
energy. This is why I've tried to explain to people that tarot can actually be darker than an Ouija board.
mhm.
That doesn't go down well with people because they're like, how dare you say they're darker? And I'm like, most of you are disrespecting them. Believe me, I see the dark things behind you. Believe me, I know that you're thing. So I love that. Is there what ways sort of this sounds like a stupid question, I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm starting going, no, this is a stupid question for someone like me.
No,
Yeah, I'm
there are
gonna
no stupid questions.
I think it's more for the guys that are watching. I'm sat there going, to me, it's a stupid question, and you almost would go, yeah, actually, I get that why you're thinking it's stupid, but I feel like it needs to be asked. What ways do you sort of use your energy in daily life, if that makes sense, as in within the magical field and non-magical field? Because I love the fact you talk about mundane type things as well.
Yeah. So it depends on the day, depends on the moon phase, it depends on my energy. So usually so this is like what I do is not everything that I do. So like you are a clairvoyant and you do paranormal investigations and energy work and everything. So we are multifaceted, multi-passionate. I'm the same. So in my day job, I'm also a project manager. So that is, I know it's crazy. I'm like, it's a grown up thing.
White light.
I'm actually an adult and it's crazy. Like, who gave me that job? So it is, so I generally tend to manage my workload pretty much every day. So every morning when I wake up, I really hate this term that people have the younger generation have created of bed rotting, but it's not bed rotting. I am preserving my energy to get up. And yes, I might be doom scrolling. Yes, I might be like checking on my emails and things, but I am like bodily making sure that I am clocking up enough coins to be able to get up, get dressed, do what I need to do.
Yeah.
And I will every other day, I'm one of those people now. I will go running. And I never used to be that person. It took me two 2 years in like to start running. But it's now 3 years. Um, but I lost 150 pounds, so about 10 stone. Um, and that was part of my journey because I was not in a good place energetically or anything like that. So now this is my routine. So I get up, I regardless of the day, I will sit in my bed and until I feel ready to get up and get dressed. And then I will go for a run or I will get on the computer and start working. So there is that. And then during the day, depending on what I'm doing, depending on what events are going on, what calls I am taking, I might use my candles. So I've got my altar is just here. It's very messy, so you're not going to see it. So I haven't changed it yet. But it is there is I might light a candle, I might pull a tarot card, I might do something that I want to connect spiritually. If there is a full moon, I might have put my crystals out and my moon water, which simply done, I will just throw a bottle of water outside and go, be moon water, because I'm not about making it complicated. I'm about making things easy for you because we don't necessarily need to have all the pomp and circumstance. So I might do affirmations in the mirror as I'm doing my makeup or as I'm brushing my teeth. I will utilize, it's like it's just kind of baked in. Everything is done with the intention, and that is the main thing when it comes to working with your energy, working with witchcraft in general, is intention. You don't need to have a 37-point ritual plus a presentation on it and like all of these rare crystals. You don't need it, like, because the witches of old didn't have that. They had what was around them.
Oh, so right, I'm sorry, guys, but you saw my excitement there. This is one thing I tell everyone, right? So when people talk to me, so for me, as I said, I worship the Greek gods because of the fact they're the oldest religion, and I need a name for everything. That is why I worship them. They know that, they're happy with that, so I'm happy. Um, but the reason I love that is because things like everyone says to me about, oh, Zeus is the king of thunder and lightning. And I'm like, yeah, he is. It's the god of thunder and lightning. And they're like, so why is he the king? And I'm like, because thunder and lightning would have been so important in Greece and them hot countries because it meant it was bringing rain in the summertime. So I was like, that's why he's the king, because they understood rain meant food.
Yeah.
And they understood that rain meant fresh water. And they understood that. So for me, like, I wouldn't, oh, Zeus, I do love you before you punish me for what I'm about to say. Um, I wouldn't worship Zeus as much as what everyone would in Greece, Rome, etc. Because I don't need, I live in England, I don't need rain. Not much as
No.
much rain. Do you know what I mean? But I would worship Apollon more because I do need more sunny days. So I
Yes.
love what you've said there. And it's things like dandelions. We have, goodness knows the amount of dandelions and daisies. So I use them a lot in my spells and
Yeah.
people and stuff like that. Even grass. So I love what you've said there because witches wouldn't have even had candles hundreds of years ago.
No.
They wouldn't have even had, a candle back in what people don't actually realize is a candle back in the 1920s. This is a weird fact I actually searched up for some, I think it was one of the witch groups because I wanted to prove a point.
Yeah.
A candle back in 1920s was £3 a candle, which works
That's a
out
lot.
about 120 quid now.
Yeah.
So it's like they were really expensive before we realized that we could actually make this fake wax through paraffin. They were made from beeswax only. So they were really, really expensive. So I love how you've brought that up because they would have used what they class as the hearth, which is the
Yeah.
whole
The
fire.
whole. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. If you wanted to do any kind of fire magic, it would have been through the hearth. It wouldn't have been through candles. And yeah, like I am a big, 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 big proponent of making sure that people don't get stopped by not having something. Everything that you use, everything that you use outside of your own intention is an amplifier. Everything else, including your pen and paper.
Yes. Which is why, as well, I've noticed with spells, and I will admit this, they don't work 100% till I've wrote them in my grimoire.
Yeah.
They do not work 100% till I've wrote them in my grimoire. And people sit there and they're like, but that don't make sense. And it's like, because my pen and paper are part of the spell. That is part
Yeah.
of the spell. And I always write it down before I actually do it. I always write on a separate piece of paper before I put it in my grimoire because I've got a thing about scribbles. I don't like them.
Oh
So
no, your grimoire's got to be nice.
yeah, it's got to be pretty. So
Yeah.
I am a bit sad and I like to write it out first. But I have noticed until it goes into there, it doesn't work as well. Because this is another thing. So I'm really weird. This is something I'm going to ask, which is really strange. I'm really weird. When I do a spell, I do a new spell nearly every time. So I don't
Yeah.
repeat spells often. And the reason being is because my circumstances and the energy around me has changed.
Yeah.
So I do a new spell because I'm like, well, I'm not in the same place as what I was then.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that? I have to ask you, lovely.
I'm a chaos witch, so I do that all the time. It's rare I repeat myself, because I know the people that I work with and who I teach all of this to. I say to them, you know, like, you do you. If you need to have these guidelines, then do it. But most of the time, I am usually just inspired by whatever is around me at the time, to the point that I will pick up my gigantic bowl of crystals. I won't know half of what they are, like, because I have to, like, I kind of have to think about it most of the time. But I will think about it, then I'll be like, okay, yes, let's pick this one because it's green and I want to do something either around health or money. And so I will pick that and go, yes, okay, right, there we go. And then I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna I'm gonna make up something on the spot. I'm going to use that, and, like, it doesn't even have to rhyme. I know that there is this meme going around that, like, if you can't spit bars, then you're not a good witch. And I'm like, no, bollocks to that. I will do whatever is easy, whatever feels good. It doesn't necessarily have to rhyme. It just needs to feel good. That intention is the main thing that is behind it. And so, yeah, like, you don't need to have the guardrails. You don't need to do that. You can, like, yeah, do
I
whatever.
love this because, so for me, the reason I love this is one, when people say, I am like that with my crystals. So I hold my hands up. The only one I'm not like it with is my selenite, and I always have a stick of selenite in hand. Don't know why, I just love it, especially when it's been charged by Artemis's light. It just makes
Yeah,
me feel, oh, good. And this is the thing that I'm loving about this conversation, because what you're saying is so true. Because sometimes we don't have to know our crystals. It's the energy our crystals giving at that
yeah,
time. Is it wanting to help our root chakra? Like, I've had a rose quartz before, and I've picked up a rose quartz and it's wanted to help my root chakra, and I've gone,
yeah.
what the hell?
Okay,
Why does my
okay.
root chakra need that? And all it was I fell out of love with creativity.
Yeah.
So it was like it wanted to help me get back into creativity. It wanted me to help getting back into loving nature. So it was a bit
Mm,
like, that makes sense why you want to actually go there. Okay,
yeah,
that's fine. And I think this is actually one of the things that has been really forgotten, especially around the moon cycles, with this obsession
mm,
that we're meant to feel a certain way around them. Like, when I live down south and when I go to see my nanas, because the altitude isn't, here we go, we're going to go scientific again now, guys.
yeah,
Because the altitude isn't as dense, is the way I'm going to word it. I love the full moon. I can sit out in the full moon, I can meditate in the full moon. But because we're higher, so we're closer to the moon up north,
mhm,
which I know sounds really weird, but that means the gravitational pull on my body and the water pull on my body is a lot more, guys. So there's actually scientific evidence there for that. So I actually get really drained in the full moon because I'm closer to it. Whereas down
yeah,
south, I love it. But then I go down in the new moon down south because there's no moon. I love the moon. But up here, when there's no new moon, I'm like, oh, thank goodness.
yeah,
Oh, but it is the pressure on my body. It's the amount of water that it wants to control and the gravitational push on me. Um, so I love what you're saying there, because I think when people talk about witchcraft, etc., they talk about the magic in it and stuff like that, but we actually forget the science side. So when you're
yeah.
saying about the not rhyming, I love that. Mine never rhyme. Mine are literally like, give me health, please, Apollon. please.
Yeah,
You know,
like
stuff like that. So I love it.
it doesn't need to be that deep, man. It really doesn't. Like, and if you do worship any deities, they also will not like smite you if you decide like to do a tiny offering because that's all you can give. Like, it's not about that. It is about the intention behind it always.
It's not just that, and this is one thing that I say to people as well, and that's actually something that frustrates me because Zeus has a very bad rep because of the myths.
Yeah.
I've sat and had a chat with that bloke. He's lovely, right? He's an absolutely lovely bloke, and he really does care. And I remember for about a month and a half to 2 months, I couldn't afford anything for my altars. And I remember going in the groups and they were like talking. And this is when I first started worshipping, when Facebook was first about. God, I'm going, but making myself feel old now.
As I say, showing your age there.
Yeah.
I'm the same, don't worry.
Go and hide. That's why I multicolour my hair so I can hide better. Um, and it was really, really difficult because people would say to me, "Oh, you can feel the emotion behind this."
Mm.
'Cause it really hurt at the time. And they're like, Zeus is going to punish you for this. He's going to punish you and blah, blah, blah. And you know what? He never did. I'm now 15 years later, and he's still never ever punished me. He's never ever cursed me, nothing. If I'm, and I think this is one of the things that people don't realize working with deities. The myths are there for man to control. They are there for lessons. Read it and see what lesson is actually to be learned. So the one of the things is Heracles. Everyone always goes to Heracles because of Disney movie. And I'm like, yeah, he did the 12 labors, but it's showing you the importance of hard work.
Yeah.
If you don't give up, that is what that story is about. It is about the hard work and not to give up. And I think that is actually a massive misconception in the witchy world, especially when they think that they like darkness. Most of the deities can't stand darkness.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, guys, Hecate worshippers, you do my nutting. I will admit that. They do. I'm going to hex this person. I'm going to curse that person. And then 3 weeks later, they're like, how come it hasn't worked?
Yeah.
No comment. Um,
Yeah. There's definitely a thing around like if you're working baneful magic, then there definitely is well, what's your reason for that? Are you enacting your own personal karma, or are you doing it for nefarious reasons? Like if you're doing it to feed your ego, then the likelihood is it's not going to work. Like, but if you are doing it for the intent, again, intention, sort of what it always comes back to, if you're doing it because the intention is true and it isn't something that's going to feed your ego, then it's likely going to, like, something is going to happen.
so I love this because one of the things I do is I do a protection with a return to sender spell.
Yeah.
And I do this every month. It is the one spell that never changes. And I do it every month, guaranteed. And the reason I do this spell and I religiously do it the way I do is because I'm not returning my bad energy, my dark energy, I'm returning theirs. So whatever they're sending to me, I'm just advancing karma and like going, right, okay, that can go back to you tenfold. Do you know what I mean? Oh, I hate that term tenfold, but still.
Yeah.
Um, I'm returning it to you. It's coming back at you. And I think that is one of the things that people forget about when you're doing a hex or you're doing a curse. And not just that, I will just actually give a warning here for baneful magic, actually. Careful, because I have seen a couple on Facebook where they don't realize the consequences of this is actually the opposite. So whereas they actually have it backfire, and this is because, especially when you're using deities, because if the deity is like, you're doing this for selfish reasons, they will backfire that spell. And
Yeah.
that's when we get people going, well, they smited me because I was doing something wrong. And it's like, no, they've just taught you a lesson.
Mm.
And I'll admit, I've had that.
Oh God, we've all done it. We've all done it at some point. We've all like tried to do something that you know, to enact some kind of ego boosting consequence to somebody else. And we've all done it, and it's either just not worked or it's backfired. And you just, you know, you, this is where it's like radical responsibility. You have to own up to your actions. Like there is consequence for everything that you do. And I'm not, I know that we kind of spoke about this, but I'm not a Wiccan. But I don't necessarily believe in the threefold law, but I do believe in consequence. And your actions will have some kind of consequence. I will follow the Hermetic laws rather than anything else. And yeah, there is going to be, you know, draw and release. There is going to be consequence. There is going to be, you know, the law of opposite. There,
Yeah.
it's like, it's just what it is. Some of it is science, and some of it is magic that is just not yet enough data collated to be called science yet.
Exactly that. I love that because it is so true. And it is. And one of the things that I do for healing on an energetical thing is I cut off people's energy off people to
Yeah.
help them heal, is one of the things that I actually do. So I love what you've said there, because even that, it doesn't have major consequences other than the fact that when they think about you, all of a sudden their energy comes back into field, etc.
Yeah.
But the consequences, what I find sometimes, and I've actually realized this, is sometimes some of my girls get a spiritual bypass because they're not being honest with me
Yeah.
about how they're emotionally feeling. So sometimes I get, all of a sudden they'll be on a, I call it like a hyper ring. It's like all of a sudden they're doing too well. And I'm like, hold on, have we walked through the fire?
Yeah.
Sorry, lovely.
That's right.
And that is one of the biggest concerns, because like the universe doesn't want us doing that. Like
No.
whoever you believe in, whether it's a universe, whatever, they don't want us doing that. And that is why I say to them all, yin and yang. We need to remember yin and yang, and we need to remember, in a way, what yin and yang teaches us is what we give out comes back to us in karma, no matter what, and as well as the balance, obviously. So I love this conversation. I hold hands up. Energy, I just love it. I love the conversations about energy because I'm just like, this so needs. I don't know why. All of a sudden, I've got this feel of energy of some people just going, why are they talking about energy in such a way? And I just suddenly felt that. So I've got a feeling some of you guys are going to think that.
Yeah.
And I want to say to you guys on how important it is to understand energy, how important it is to understand how the moon, the sun, not just the moon, how the sun affects us, how the rain affects us. One thing I'm going to ask you guys to do, I'm actually going to give you guys a task, and I want you to come back to this video and actually comment down below and let me and Carla know how you get on. Is the next time it is, I know this sounds weird, but raining, doesn't matter if it's drizzling or anything, I want you to take your shoes off, go stand on a piece of grass, and just stand there like that. Palms have to be up, so you're accepting it. and just stand there like that. Because I tell you what, if you can't feel energy in that moment, I will be very shocked. Not the sun on
Mm.
your face, because everyone feels that. Everyone feels the moonlight, but that bit of energy connecting with the ground and connecting with the sky at the same point.
Yep.
I've got to ask Carla, have you ever done it? You're not.
Yes. Yes, actually. I do it quite often. I do a lot of grounding. What I do if I'm flagging because I go running like 3, 4 times a week. Um, if I am flagging, I will use all of the elements around me. So I will imagine that there are roots growing out of my feet as I'm running. So not like slowing me down, but just grounding me. And I will visualize the earth's energy like coming up through my trainers into my feet and then giving me that steadiness. I will then feel the wind on my skin and like to give me that push to keep going. If there is rain, then I will be like, it's cleansing me or it's giving me the water that I need right now. And then the sun is giving me a power up. So I will do all of that depending on what is going on. And I'm very lucky here in this in the last place that I was living in. We did have I used to run over a river. Here not so much. I know there is water around here, but I will use spirit because I actually run through a memorial garden. And so I will use spirit as my fifth element and connect, excuse me, to connect with it on that level of like grounding myself and also like connecting to spirit on a higher level as well. So there's multiple ways. I do it all the time. It is something that is just connected to me all the time. I've done that since I started like running regularly, is like connect with all the elements.
See, this is something I feel is so important because it's not just a connection of to Mother Nature. It's not just a connection. It connects us to everything. When we feel them elements, like it does connect us to everything, from spiritual to I can't even explain it. I can't put it into words. I'm hoping you're getting the same chills down your spines as what I know we're getting at the minute just talking about this side. That's why I think it popped into my head that I needed to say that because I one of the things my hubby always sings to me, and he always says that's your song is I love pina coladas, but the dancing in the rain, he's like, you
Yeah.
are the only person I know that will dance in the rain. Sorry, guys. So if there was a weird cut there, guys, it was just literally I had a phone call and I had to answer it because it was to do with my eldest. As you guys know, there's a lot going on at the minute. Well, some of you know. So yeah, so obviously elements is one of the biggest keys in energy resourcing, and also with you saying actually about water, water is a natural cleanser. It's the best cleanser we've got. Like
Yeah.
not just with washing our hands and stuff. It's better than salt. Like everyone obsessed with salt, and I'm like, nah, water's a better cleanser. Like, just getting in the shower. I know
Yeah.
it sounds weird, but getting in a shower or even a bath if you don't have a shower. So I do love that. I have to admit that I absolutely, yeah. Um, so I think another thing I'm gonna ask Lovely about is, and I know this sounds weird, but this come to me while I was actually on the phone, is cleansing your tarot cards, because I know you're a chaos
Yeah.
witch. Obviously I'll admit that is one thing I'm quite strict at, cleansing my tarot cards after every time I've used them.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, what ways would you suggest for people to cleanse their tarot cards?
Well, it depends on what you have to hand. So if you have a bell, you can use sound. So if you have a bell, but you can also play something on your computer and do that. That also works. That is absolutely fine to do. So you can use sound, you can use smoke. So if you have a candle, if you don't have incense, you can have a candle, you can blow it out and use the candle smoke. You can also use your own breath as well. So you can just say, I'm cleansing you, and blow through it as you are doing it. You can also visualize cleansing energy as you are shuffling. There is no one true way to cleanse any of your stuff. If you want to, you can also cleanse as well as charge. You can charge them under the full moon. You can charge them under the new moon. It doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. You can pop it on a selenite. So I've got some. I'm looking over here because my altar's over here, and I've got a selenite wand, but I also have a selenite block. So you can use that because selenite is a great cleanser and it's also a great charger. So you can do it for both things. So say, for example, sometimes I might put my my tarot cards underneath and be like, I want you to be cleansed. And then I might then take my tarot cards, put them on top and say, I want them to be charged. So
love that.
Doesn't matter.
No, I love this. And the reason being is I do see some people get confused with difference in between charging and cleansing. So I do see that sometimes. So I love the fact you've chose the correct crystal. I know that sounds really wrong, but in my opinion, the correct crystal for cleansing them under the full moon. Because I've seen someone the other day put a I think it was a snowflake obsidian. Yeah, and they put it, and they were like, oh, I'm cleansing my crystals under the full moon. I'm cleansing my cards under the full moon, and I put a crystal on top of them, and I'm like, that's not gonna work. And I was like, okay, each to their own. Okay, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe your crystal feels different to what I realized. Okay.
Yeah, and it's also the other thing is they might only have that crystal. So this is the thing, is like, I will pick up one of my crystals and be like, okay, I need you to do this. I need you to give me this energy or this intention. And this is something like, you can put all the herbs that you want in a pot. If you don't tell them what they're doing, you're just making tea, like, essentially. Like, what are you doing with it? Like, give them an intention, give them a job. And so it might not be as effective, particularly if they know as well. Say, for example, they're using snowflake obsidian to charge their tools, and they know that snowflake obsidian is more for protection. They might go, oh, okay, so I'm charging it, but I'm charging it with protective energy. Then that's cool. Like, do what feels good, and also use what you have, because witches of old didn't have the things that we have now.
No.
And certain things, certain spells, certain rituals that people have cottoned onto recently, they didn't exist back in the day. Like, for example, I know that we spoke about it previously, but the blowing cinnamon through the door on the 1st, the Gregorian calendar is made up. Sorry, not sorry. But it is like, time is a construct, and it's fine if you miss it. If you want to do it, the intention is there. If you want to bring prosperity into your home, and you feel that blowing cinnamon through the door, or yeeting a cinnamon stick if you don't have the cinnamon dust in there, like, if you just want to throw it through the door, that's also fine. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. The thing that I will say that matters with that, and I hope you don't mind me, Carla, coming in there,
All right.
is Mother Nature's not going to be happy with you with wasting her food. So because you're not giving it to her. So whereas when we do a spell, etc., like when I do a spell, it's dedicated, the herbs, etc., that I use are dedicated to the gods and goddesses, or they go back in her ground. That is the way that I do my spells. Um, for me personally, what you're doing is you're blowing that cinnamon through your door, sweeping it or hoovering it up half an hour later, right? What point of it is there? What
Yeah.
Ask yourself, like literally actually sit there and go, would they have wasted this much food even 20 years ago, like in the 90s? Actually, that's 30 years ago. Oh my God.
Yep. We're just gonna have a moment for the passage of time here. I know, same. The 80s was 20 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll leave it as that. That's our thinking. Okay. When we talk about the 90s, it's only 20 years ago. Okay, guys, we need that. Okay.
Yeah.
We would have never wasted food. Oh, our parents would have clipped us. If we were caught wasting food, our parents would have slapped our asses.
Yep.
So for me, we need to remember about wastage. So when you're doing some of these trends from TikTok, because it was never around until TikTok started in 2020. Before that, I speak to people that are witches before that, and they're like, never heard of it. Oh yeah, I made burn cinnamon. So that's actually what they more did. They more burned
Yeah.
cinnamon to their gods and goddesses on the new moon, rather than actually a random day, because most of us go by the moons. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I says, because I'd never heard of it. So I needed to find out whether it's something new, whether I've missed something. Like, to me, I burn my bay leaves every day. Like, I burn my bay leaves every single day. I burn bay leaves for wishes and prosperity. It's sort of like I call it my vision board. I don't have a
Yeah.
vision board. I
I
burn bay leaves. Um, and I think that's one of the things that really does frustrate me is the wastage.
Yeah.
I really, because like even my bay leaves, I don't put them into the wind like people tell people. They go into my soul, into my witch's soul. So there's
Mm.
no wastage at all, because they wouldn't have wasted things back in the past. It wouldn't have been
No.
wasted. Even with when we were speaking about the hearth, if they were dedicating something to Hestia, they would have been cooking in it to for themselves. They would have cooked it, set her up the tiniest bit, like, and I mean, I read one of Hedios's the other day, and it literally said they literally give them the tiniest bit. They even watered down their wine so
Yeah.
then they had more to drink. I think this is such an important thing for people to recognize. But I do feel the Wicca movement since 1973 has had a big effect on what we believe witches did.
Yeah. There's definite there are elements of the Mandela effect as well, where people are like, no, this has always been, no, it hasn't, but that's okay. That's your reality. And if it helps you, then great. If it feels good for you to do, then great. But your reality is not my reality, and that is okay. Like you are good to believe in what you believe. That is like the whole point of life, is to have your own perception of how you live. And there are so many people out there that are very gatekeepy, or very just like, this is the one true way. No, it's not. And that is okay. Like your one true way is fantastic for you, but it's not my way. but that is also okay. Like, I'm not going to get pissy with someone who is very, very into all of the TikTok trends, for example, and the ones with the calling out of the beginner witches, when they're like, oh no, you shouldn't be doing this, like baby witches, you shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
Like, it gets my goat. And I know that there are some people that like to be called baby witches, but I don't like it. I'm very much a feminist, and I'm like, no, you're infantilizing yourself, stop it. But then I'm like, but that's their reality, and I have to remind myself and be like, I can't stop somebody from self-identifying as something that I don't believe in, but I can educate. I can say, hey, this is my way. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't work for you, that's also great.
Yeah, see, I love this, and the reason I love this is because you've got two. I don't want to use the term, but you've got two old school witches here, two very old school witches who have been around the block, is the way I'm going to word it, and I love the way you spoke about the term baby witch. I don't like it.
No, I don't. It drives me nuts.
Yeah. When I joined Witchcraft and I first started learning about it, etc., we didn't have this term baby witch at all.
No.
It was as soon as you've done your first spell, you were a witch. You joined the forces. You were a witch.
Yeah.
But I think as well, because there wasn't as many around, we worked in the shadows, which is what I was saying to you about the shadow work term, why I don't use it. Because we worked in the shadows, because it was very Christian back then. In 1999, we were still singing hymns at school,
Yeah.
even in secondary school, we were still singing hymns. So I had to very much hide and stuff. And this is the thing, I remember, oh, do you know what? I've just had a memory come back that I completely and utterly forgot about. I
All right,
remember,
I'm ready.
I remember going to a field one day, and I can't remember what it was, but we were really upset about something, and I can't remember exactly what it was. And we got a chest. You remember them old wooden jewelry boxes?
Yeah.
We got one of them. We nearly burnt the field down. We got one of them, and we put loads of twigs in it with loads of paper. And everything had on that piece of paper was just written a wish. This is how simple this spell was. And I remember this worked, believe it or not, it did actually work. And I remember we lit the piece of paper, let it go up. And I remember feeling so powerful at the time. Like, I was only, oh God, I may have been younger than 14, It was something, I think I was about 12, 11, 12.
Gosh, that's amazing.
Because my mum was living at Lamb Beach at the time. So yeah, I must have been about 11, 12 at the time. And I remember doing this, and it made me feel so powerful. As I said, we nearly burnt down the field. Luckily, we managed to stamp out the fire.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things that I think is important. We didn't realize what we were doing was a spell. We didn't realize that. We just felt it was something we needed to do. I don't know why that memory come then. Oh, when
I
you just
think,
carry on.
yeah, I was gonna say, I think part of it is it's innate. Like, we know that there is magic within us. We know that there is something a little bit more powerful that we haven't quite yet tapped into. And when we're younger, we experiment. We don't really we don't really get it that we need to have these that we put our self-identified ceilings on, and we just play, we experiment. And when you're a teenager as well, so science for you, when you're a teenager as well, your risk, there's the risk aversion is less. So you're more likely to take risks. And you God, I'm trying to remember from when I was a teacher. There was this whole thing about it was called the calm classroom, and there is a connection between risk aversion in teenagers and the need to experiment and the need to do different things and branch out, because we've spent our childhood being being sponges and seeing how the adults live and work and model ourselves on them. And then as a teenager, the hormones are going crazy. There are multiple different firing enzymes and things going on inside our brain, inside our bodies. And so the risk aversion like just goes through the floor, and the need to do things differently and break out from that mold goes like through the ceiling. So we are more likely to start doing something like witchcraft when we are in our teens, because we're trying something new, we're trying something a little bit more adrenaline based, and like we need to have that adrenaline going on because that's what fuels us. And then as we get older, life happens to us, and this is where we usually go, oh no, that's just stupid kid shit, and like I'm not going to do that anymore. And then we, you know, for whatever reason, I mean, that's literally what happened to me. I was from a young age, through my teens, I was practicing with witchcraft, and it actually took me until 2009 when my dad died that I was like, what's the point if I can't use this to help him? Like, what is the point of all of this? And so I gave it all up for a decade, and it was sad, but I needed that to happen. And then as we're kind of coming into our, for want of a better phrase, women in their late 30s, 40s and 50s, we are coming into our second teenagerdom, because perimenopause loves to give us all of the acne and stupid rubbish that we have to deal with.
So that I'm trying to hide.
yeah, that's why the makeup went on today. The acne rash that I've got going on my face. So it's like we're now like rediscovering it, and we are rediscovering our power. And depending on where you are, this is not just for women, but it is a lot of women. And we are like, we get to the point now, particularly with women, where there are certain levels of estrogen that just go lower, and our giving a shit gets a lot less. We just don't care anymore. So it is like we're going through these energetic phases and cycles, and it is magic, for pun not intended, but it is, you know, it is magic, it is majestic of how we are dealing with certain things. And like from that young age to now, like we have this experience, and this is where, you know, we can share it. Yes, we are women of a certain age, but it, you know, my grey hairs, yes, they are fabulous and I love them, they're my glitter strands, but it is also, it is knowledge, it is experiences, lived experience that we can share to those people who are just starting out. Even if they're just starting out in their 50s, it doesn't matter. Like, again, time is a construct.
I love this because I would have loved to have had older, because most of the people that I had that I knew were younger, like they were a similar age to me. I would have loved to have had two witches with the experience me and you got to actually have guided me. I would have loved to have what you, I hold my hands up. I'm quite jealous of you guys, what you have. You ain't no longer on the bloody roller
No.
dice trying to find the book you want from the bookstore. You know, you guys have got people like us to give you guidance and stuff like that. And I will admit, what you've just said is perfect. I remember at 14, the 14 to I was about 20, the risky spells that I did
Yep.
is shocking. Is shocking. And the stuff that I could do, I can no longer, I can still astro project. I will admit that one. I can still astro project, but I could,
Yeah.
I know it sounds really, this is going to sound insane, guys, but I promise you I could. With my energy, I could control fire, flames. I could put
Yep.
flames out with my energy and all sorts of stuff. But I don't dare do it anymore because I'm like, oh, what if I hurt the fire? What if I do this? What
Yeah.
if I cause an explosion while I'm practicing like I did back in the
We
day?
put the ceiling on.
Yeah. Whereas when I was 18, like I didn't give two monkeys. I was like, yeah, if that sets my car, set a fire and if it sets my car alight, it sets my car alight. Who cares?
Yeah.
That was my attitude. Wow.
Yeah.
Never ever.
I was very lucky. I was very lucky as well, because my mum's best friend was a high priestess. So
Love that.
I got to have a full view of what witchcraft was like. And so I got to experience a lot of it. I got to be part of a jumping the broom wedding. So I was one of the corners. I got to experience a whole lot of stuff, and she was very, very vocal with what she had to share. She was great. She was also mildly obnoxious. I loved her, but she was very, very loud. Like you knew when she was in the house because like it was like, oh, Diana's here. Okay. But she was a great character. Like
Um,
absolute great character.
I think
But
this is,
yeah,
but we need them
go on.
characters. Let's be honest, we do need them characters. They bring light. They
Yes.
do, and some darkness, but they bring mainly light.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She was very opinionated. But that was fine because I knew her the best when I was a teenager. So I would have roaring debates with her about all manner of different things, and she helped to shape me. And she helped me to realize that I have my own mind. That school was at the time it was needed for my education, but I didn't need to follow everything to the letter because I'm a very good student, Miss Ravenclaw here. I'm a very good student when I want to be, and I love learning. But I also know that there are parts of me that needs to take action, and it took me a really long time to take action in certain areas of my life, like to the point of connecting my business with my magic. Like that is relatively recently. That has happened properly. I'd say full busting out of the broom closet happened in the last 3 years. I have come back to magical stuff like in 2019, and it's been a journey to kind of connect both together
I think,
because my local brain was like, mm-mm.
yeah, but I think we've been forced to. I
Oh
think
yeah,
we've been forced to because there is so many new witches coming to the area. I think in a way it's I don't know about you. I stopped doing spells because of the fact I hold my hands up. So I didn't do so even though I was still worshipping the gods and goddesses, etc.
yeah,
I wasn't physically doing spells. And the reason being, and I will admit this to everyone, was I just didn't feel like I needed to. So I wasn't doing anything like
yeah,
that. And I will admit that. And all of a sudden, so it's weird you say this, 2020, because it was a year that COVID actually come out. I
yeah,
got this call in to do a spell. And I was like, what the hell's going on here? To get my tarot cards out. And I was like, I haven't touched my tarot cards for 6 years. What is going on here? Like, other than to meditate and cleanse with them, I didn't actually do any readings with them. So I was like, what's going on here? This is really weird. Um, And I now look at it now with how both of us have gone and how many of my friends have gone as well within the witchy community. I'm like, there was a massive calling for us to come forward, for us with all this
Yeah, it was
experience.
like a
No, carry on,
it was
lovely.
like a collective reset. It was like a collective reset. Like the entire world went, shit, we need to do something.
Yeah. Oh, I've got.
And so yeah, me too. And it totally like reset everyone. It was that thing of we need to do something about this. Like people are dying everywhere. And it's like we've gone from being, previously it was like the last time that anything big like this happened. I know it wasn't the bubonic plague, but I'm going to use that as a reference. But it was like that, and people had to do something about it, and we had to change how we lived our lives as an entire collective. And this is the same thing, like with the rise of TikTok, because I was on TikTok before it was TikTok. I was on it when it was Musically. Thank you, students. They got me onto it.
My
Many,
daughter's food.
but it is true. Like there were so many of us that just went, I need something more. I need something to help me to connect back with myself, with the earth, because what we saw when people stopped going out, what we saw was an earth reset, because there was more nature about, because it was like there were so many cities that saw the rise of the deer coming in, and like you wouldn't have normally seen that in the daytime.
The rise of
So
boxes was really bad here.
yes, yeah. So it is it is something that I think a lot of us just went, I need something more to help me through this.
I think as well, watching nature take
Yeah,
back, because I remember the posts in the witch groups back in 2019, 2020.
yeah,
And I remember all of a sudden, like, and I don't mean really, guys, you see the witch groups at 1,000 people to 10,000 people now. Back then, you're only talking a few hundred of us in the witch
yeah,
groups. They were tiny.
yeah,
Um, and I remember all of a sudden posts coming up about the foxes coming back in and the badgers.
yeah,
And I can remember the people posting going, just shows how nature's stronger. And where the roads weren't being used, they were being sort of taken over by grass, like grass was growing
yeah,
in the middle and stuff like that. And they're like, the posts were like, imagine if we weren't here, the earth would retake it, nature is stronger, and stuff like that. And I think that as them posts, I know it sounds wrong, but as they were removed from witchy groups and put onto people's Facebooks, like their personal Facebooks, and that started spreading, it was like people just suddenly went, actually, do you know what? That's true.
yeah,
Nature's stronger than anything, which it is. It gives us everything we need in life, it gives us.
yeah,
Uh, Technically, we don't need I know I'm drinking out of a bottle, but technically, we don't need man-made crap because of nature. And this is, I can feel the chills and the emotion behind this. This is one of the things that I think COVID did. It just went, do you know what? And it's strange, actually, you mentioned about history. And I don't know why Spirit Guys just mentioned this. Spanish influenza
yeah,
and consumption. You guys will know it as tuberculosis, TB.
yeah,
In the late 1800s to early 1900s. That apparently, he's just told me, and I don't know if it's true, that sparked the last spiritual movement off
mm,
for mediumship and stuff. So now I'm sat here going, these great Are they? I love the way you've used the term earth resets. Is that actually what's happening? It's not man-made illnesses, it's nature going, we need to get back to nature. I'm trying to think of a term. I'm like,
Yeah, no, it's true. It's like there is so much around it that is we don't know, because we're not going to know until we leave our meat suit and go into the great beyond, whatever you believe in, and then we might know the answers, but we're not going to withhold, we're not going to retain them. So we'll just have part of that on the next, if you believe in reincarnation, on the next journey of our soul.
oh,
So there's so much to consider, and the only thing that we can do is just be true to ourselves and just live your life in a way that feels good and true and honest, and that is based in love. And I know that being a chaos witch, I am a little bit like, and also a little bit of a gangster, because I'm not afraid of the rage. I'm not afraid of the darkness. I use it to help fuel me, but in a way that feels intentional. And I'm not afraid of big feelings, so I won't tamp them down. I will feel them and then release them if they need to be released. But like, we do need to have that full spectrum feeling and full spectrum moving forward. But we do, essentially, we are love, as much as kind of it pains to say me, because there are so many people out there that are like, no, it's just love, you just need to vibrate at this like level. No,
yeah.
that's not sustainable. Joy is fleeting. Like, joy is fleeting, neutral is good. Like, we are going to have times when we do feel sad, we do feel mad, we are pissy, we are bitchy, like all of that. There's going to be so many different feelings that we have, because that's being human, and it's okay. But essentially, love is the answer, and you can't tell me otherwise.
The only thing I would add to that for myself personally, and I will admit this, is love is the answer, but also knowing yourself. So being aware of
Okay.
who you are is the answer to it, to understand it all. Guys, I'm going to ask you another one to pop down below, actually. So I've gave you a job to do during this one. I don't usually do this one. Um, I'm definitely going to have Carla back on, because I think with us being sort of like into everything, like both of us are into everything, the
Yeah.
paranormal, we're into the lot. I would like for you guys to comment down below, actually, what you feel is needed that you feel we didn't actually get to in this podcast, because I feel like we've done the basics. I made sure that we got the basics there, but I feel like you'll want a bit more in depth. Um, so do comment down below if you feel at any point or there was a bit more information you needed, such as like the moon cycles, with us talking about how actually where we live can affect us. If you
Yeah.
want anything like that, let me know and I will speak with Carla and get her back on. She's awesome. I'm not gonna lie. She's absolutely awesome. So
Thanks.
I've just realised the time, Carla. I'm not gonna lie. Believe it or not, since the call, we've gone another 20 minutes. I think we could talk
Right.
for it.
I think we could.
Um, so my lovely, I'm gonna ask for your statement out if you don't mind. What you feel like everyone needs to know.
I think people, we need to just be aware that the control that you have is all within. So you control you. So you can control your actions, your reactions, and your non-actions. So this is something like it's within your power. You are not in control of anything external of you, but you are in control of what you can do. So if you know yourself, if you are ready to take certain steps in your life, then just know that you are the one that can make your own magic.
I love that. That is just absolutely perfect. I know for a fact that, wow, that is going to hit a couple of them. I know for a fact that, especially a couple of my newbie witches, that is going to, yeah, bless their hearts. Anyway, guys, thank you, Carla, again for joining me. Honestly, absolute amazing guest. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do go and check out Carla. She's absolutely amazing, the practical magic coach. I've really enjoyed this. I'm not gonna lie, this has been one
Me
of
too.
I love talking about witchcraft and stuff, and I don't get to talk about it much, if I'm honest with people. So do give a like, do a comment, do subscribe, don't forget, guys, and don't forget the most important thing, keep sparkling.